Whatever Rabbi say, nor at Levin, your humble servant. I am back for part two of La Kosher Nostra, this kosher thing of ours. Rabbi say, again, for the Talmidei Chacham, the Bnei Torah, the Askonim, the Balei Chesed. But for those people who want entertainment that is replete with hashkaf of the Balei Hira'ah of yesteryear, I invite you to join my WhatsApp. It's wildly popular. It's going all over the place. And a lot of the stuff that we do on my WhatsApp is going all over the WhatsApp affair. And it's getting a lot of play. Not only here, but all over. And therefore, I want to invite you, if you want a link, you go to Rabbi Levin. No. Wait. I think it's Rabbi Levin and the number 11. Rabbi Levin, the number 11 at gmail.com. Rabbi Levin, the number 11 at gmail.com. You can give me any program suggestions, any criticisms, any threats. Was de Vils, Rabbi say, I'm here to be your pincushion. Get online. They've been stalking me for 40 years. Aboim shono kut bidor. I'm tired of him. Yeah. Most of the Olam are Hagolim. That's how it's been for so many years. And we're just looking for a few good men who are going to be Askonim. And when we get 10 people like this, we'll turn over Lakewood, and then we'll move on to Chicago and Baltimore, etc. Now, let's see here. So we answered the question, does today Agudah champion Lakewood Torah values? Methinks not. Did they do anything good? Yeah. When it comes to morality and stuff like that, no. Why continue with Flatbush Mama? We heard it already. What does Flatbush Mama have to do with Lakewood? It's coming to a theater near you, we talked about. The deafening silence of the Rabonim, Rebbitzins, Rosh Yeshivas, seminary teachers, why are they quiet? So I went into the Mir Yeshiva Beis Medrash today, and a bocher comes over to me. I'm not going to say his name. He tells me who Zayd is. Zayd is a balabos, a tayr, a yoker, a tzaddik, a zizkar, a noivid. And he starts to ask me, what's my hotline number, etc. And he tells me that the first few days he went over to a distinguished Rav. He says to the Rav, what are we doing about all these politicians who are pushing the Mishkav Zach agenda, the transgender agenda, etc., the news is tightening on us. And he says, this is not politics. You have to worry about voting for them, supporting them, whatever. He said, this is not politics. The guy says, the Bacha says, but I heard from Rabbi Yehuda Levin. He said, kach v'kach, he cuts him off. Rabbi Yehuda Levin, he speaks nivel peh. Yehuda Levin speaks nivel peh. Shine up, gepatted, up, gefrekt. In one full swoop, the great rabbi dismissed me and all my work. The Mishnah in Pesachim says, that Rabbi Mill used to quote, that Chizkiah Melech did several things, and some of the things that Chachamim weren't masculine to, some things they were. But this Rav is above the madrega of those Chazal. And this is not only his attitude. This is the attitude of the Pnei Hadar now. Dismiss. We found one Chasson, Yehuda Levin. We kapatched the Bayach. Yehuda Levin spoke out of turn. Yehuda Levin made a mistake. He spoke a little too grob. He did this, he did that. Abgepattet, abgefrekt, alle Sachen, was er getan. Really. And that's going to hold up in the Olam HaEmes. Really. Let's address this thing about Yehuda Levin and Nivel Peh. There was a Yid by the name of Rav Victor Miller. He wrote in a letter to 47th Street Photo in 1984, Kol Dibura Yehuda Levin, Rotz le Congress, ki kein zu weisi alov. Ich hab ihn geheißen. I commanded Yehuda Levin to run. He took achrayas from me when I was 30 years old. He wrote a letter to Rav Elias Svei at the same time, a half a year before. The letter is reprinted in the authoritative Rav Avigdor Miller biography published by Feldheim, written by Rabbi Hamburger. And in the page about the Askonis, the letter is reproduced. It's microscopic, but if you take out a microscope, you could read the letter. He wrote superlative things about me to Ravel Yisvei. So I've been around. He's my Rabbi for so many years. Everybody, or most people know, once upon a time, he was giving his Thursday shir, and a lady was wearing a low-cut blouse in the front, sitting in the front of the ladies section. And the curtains were open so the ladies could see the robe. So he said, will the woman in the front, that's not a large stool, sitting there, please cover her udders? You hear what Rev Miller said? Please cover her udders. Question. Rev Miller could have said, there are several women here who could use an upgrade in their modesty and sneers. Please, I ask you, in this Beis HaKnesses, in this Beis HaMedrash, please make sure when you come next week, and we are welcome to come, we want you to come, please dress more modestly, upgrade your sneers. Could have said that. The ladies would have figured out. Instead, he mamish embarrassed her. The lady in the front should cover her udders, referring to her as a cow, as a mammal, her mammaries. You got it? You don't like it? Tough luck. That's the way Rev Miller spoke. Yehuda Levin, you think you're Rev Miller? No. I'm not Rev Miller. And that's why this Katnu Adoris, and I waited 40 long years before I decided that there's nobody else doing anything. Mamish. Flatbush Mama has been doing her tinoifos, her disgusting garbage, for many years, 3-4 years or something like that. Nobody calls her out. Nothing. Not one Kolkaira, not one Rov, nothing. Well, contrary, she uses Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi. He's used like a dupe, DUPE, because his wife didn't look at the videos. I'm sure he's not choshev to look at the videos. He's not a lowlife like Yehuda Levin, who has to do an Averu Lishmot to look at the videos to a certain extent to be able to show what a novella she is. I'll do it. You don't like it, tough luck. I'm your Shabbos guy. Okay? Simple as that. Now, it reminds me of Shlomo Karlibach. Shlomo Karlibach was a bitter person because, and he wasn't, he had his faults. He had his failures. We're not trying to whitewash what he was. But we have to say this. Everybody knows anything about music knows his Nugunim are uniquely Yiddish. They don't have a Goyish influence. Something very interesting. He definitely had deep stuff. I'm not getting to. He's womanizing. There's no excuse for it. There's no heter, no matter what. Anyhow, but he said a lot of chachmas. One thing he said is, holy brothers and sisters, people come to me and they heap all their garbage on me. And then after they piled all their garbage on me, and I am the garbage cleaner and the garbage collector, and I pick up the people out of the garbage, he meant his kirva chaykim. He meant his own bali tshuva, they outgrow him, and then they look askance at him. After they leave Modi'in and they go on to mainstream. That's probably what he's talking about. So he says, then they look back at me after they heaped all their garbage on me, and some of it stuck to me, and they say, phew, he stinks terrible. You hear what he said? Chachma is chachma. You don't do anything. Your Rabonim, your Rebbitzins, your seminary teachers, your mashpiyim, nobody does a darn thing. Where are they? The Rosh Hashivas of Chaim Berlin, of Tarvadas, the Rabonim, the speakers at Agudah, the fancy speakers. Where are they all? And then you complain when Yehuda Levin at the midnight hour, he says, oh my goodness, they're going to elect her, and once she gets in, it'll be a stepping stone. She'll run for city council. You'll never stop her. And the hashpah she's going to have, she wrote an Instagram, Erev Shabbos, to 38,000 followers, including teeny boopers and prepubescents, elementary school girls. We have to start a dialogue with the gays, lesbians, queers, transgender, and off the derech people. Do you know what? 1,683 people made a sign that they like what she said. 1,683 people. Has nothing to do with you in Lakewood? Why? The internet is bagranist. There are no people who can make a tumult, who complain, who go on the internet. They can berate her and pass around videos about her and say she's an oisfaf and make sure the relatives and the people in Flatbush don't do anything. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep on talking about it. And if it's not entertaining enough for you, tough luck, goodbye, go. I don't need you. I don't care. I'm like the guy who came to the big auditorium at the end of the night, and there was one person left there. And he's speaking to that one person. He says, how come you're here? He said, because I'm the next speaker. That's me, your pincushion. I'm going to keep on going. Whether you're with me, whether you're not with me, you don't pay me, you don't control me. I do my own thing. That's the way it is. I see gewaltiges Yated Shmaya. Right, Rabbi say. So we've covered Yehuda Levin speaks Nivel Pet. Now we're covering this. I want to give you, again, rabbi.zone. How do you get on to my WhatsApp? Spread the word. Be a shutuf with me for the simple aspect of spreading the word and getting people to listen. And if they listen, they hear hashkafa, and it's because of you, and they do something with their family. I want to tell you two stories. Once upon a time, at the Agudah of Avenue L, they have a cholent. Before or after Ma'ariv, they have cholent, and they have a speaker. It's before Ma'ariv. And Rabbi Miller, not Rav Victor Miller, a young fellow named Miller, now not so young, he's probably in his 40s, maybe even David Miller, I can't remember his first name. He went ahead and he invited me to speak. He only did it twice, and he never did it again. I spoke about sneers. And I took foreign books that have drawings of ladies' clothing and everything else, and I went into it in depth. And I explained that sneers is not merely covering the knees when you sit, or covering below the elbows, or covering till the collarbone, above the collarbone. This is a phony, baloney, fake news. Sneers is not objectifying the woman by making her an object. When a woman goes in the morning to take out her clothing, she has to say, I'm going to look good in the gas, or how I'm going to look decent, but I'm going to look proper. But how am I going to not attract the eyesight, the look, the head turning? How am I not going to be eye candy for the men folk? Because they're mitzvah v'leisasurach. And if I wear a message across my chest, and the man looks for a fraction of a second, he goes to Gehenna v'leisasurach if he doesn't pull his eyes away quickly, I'm going to be there with him. That's what Rabbeinu Yonah says. Sorry, I didn't make this up. Sorry if it offends your 21st century sensibilities. So, sneers is not holding a cell phone and chewing gum in the street. Sneers is not sitting on a bus and yawning and lifting your hand like I'm doing on this video. Sorry, women, there are other rules. You don't like it? Shasani Kurtzina. I'm sorry, we can't change this Torah for you. You know who's achrayit to say this? The men folk are supposed to say it to their husband, to their daughters, and their wives. And then they say, if nobody's saying it, finish business. The rabbis aren't doing the job. The Rebbitzins aren't doing the job. So, Rabbi say, let's move on. I want to tell you a little bit of Torah. I was at Mincha today, and the first Mincha land out shul at 1:30, they usually say Tachnan. Yidel, the Gabi, gives a scream out, Kaddish! People asking afterwards why. It seems it was a chassan. So I thought to myself as follows. The chassan's there, it's a bechin of simcha, so we don't say Tachnan. Now, the Degel Machne Ephraim, the anicle of the Baal Shem Tov, said, the Gemara that says Chassan Moichlin Loi Kol Avay Noisav, the Chassan and Kala get, and the Bedichva says the Kala also versteht sich. It's Loi V'Chol Nilvma Love. Everybody's in his retinue, his entourage, gets me close to Avinus. Why? We can get into why. Tachas HaShakir. By Eliyahu Navi, it says Hashem made him the Malach HaBris because he had to be punished for saying Kitron and Klal Yisrael during the drought. So he had to come to the bris. He says, if I come to the bris, I'm going to see that the Baal Bris is not an Elchayir. I'm going to be Bekatrik. Hashem says, I'm moichel him. He says, the Zaydis and Babas are going to come because it says in the Zohar, Yismach Yisrael, I'm sorry, the guests are going to come. And if the guests come and they're bad, I'm going to be makatruk on them. So Hashem says, I'm moichel all of them. Says the B'nai Yisoscha, B'Shem, maybe the Pirkei Rabbi Elazar or hidden medrash. Tachas Hashekino Leilakov, since he was a kanoi, Vayachaper Eliyahu Navi Pinchas, where Eliyahu brought kapara on B'nai Yisrael by a bris. Similarly, the same thing happens by a chasna. It says Yismach Yisrael Ba'osav, says the Zohar. Ba'osav means the people, the progenitors, come out of the Jugendzei Areis from Canaan. They bring them under the chuppah to Zaydis, the Bubbas. If Dov Schwartzman once told me that it's up to 10 dollars. If a person's zoich, he can get up to 10 dollars of Zaydis Bubbas. But they come. And if they come, they're going to be makatrik if they see the kids are not good. So Hashem has to give the kids mechilus avoinus. The guests get. So this is a source for the Degel Machna Ephraim says, everybody in the entourage, everybody in the retinue, everybody in the assemblage who's participating in Simchas Chasam V'Kala. This is based on a Gemara Psachim, I believe, Kuf Yud or something like that. Kuf Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph. He says you go to a Sudas Mitzvah, Mitzan Olei Migehenim, cools off a little the Gehenim, and the Taisva says, a Sudas Bris Milah or a Sudas, a wedding suit or something like that. Maybe Shevi Brachas, So anyhow, so you see like this, I wanted to say, when we hear that it's a chosna, we're not saying tachlon, so some of us get very happy. It's a minute or two shaved off milcha. We don't have the tircha, quote unquote, of saying tachlon. So we're happy. We might even think for a minute, oh, he's getting married, mazel tov, it's nice. We're happy. And the very fact that we don't say tachlon makes us shutfim in his simcha. Even if it's not designed that we didn't actively, proactively think in those terms, but we are part of an assemblage that's contributing to his simcha by the fact that we did not recite tachnan. So therefore, maybe we have grabbed onto a branch that's far away from the trunk, but we're still able to access the tree of Mechilas Avoinus. So I think it's from the Chazdei Elyon, that because of the arvus of Klal Yisrael, our Ravim Zelazeh, so when the Chosin has a simcha, we all don't say in his presence Tachnun. If we don't say Tachnun, we are already a part of his simcha, we're contributing something. If we're contributing something, we're like his retinue, Bezer Ampen, even though we're not at the Chasna. By the way, the Sforim say that the Mechil of the Chosin sets in, it comes in gradually, it comes to full oomph, but it starts gradually with the Shabbos of the Eifruf, and it grows and it grows and it grows until he's under the chuppah. At that moment, he's getting total mechilas avonos, and it continues to stay that way throughout all the Shevet Brachas. So if you go to a Shevet Brachas and you B'Samech Chasam V'Kala, you also get a bechina of Mitzanu Legehenem and a bit of mechilas avonos. And I want to be mechadish that if you attend a mincha or a davening during the time the Chasan's there, you become part of his retinue of simcha. And because of Arvis, you get Mechilas Avonis. You see how powerful Arvis is? So Arvis works in two ways. Be the type of Meruba. But Arvis also works. That we're all responsible to care when Flatbush Mama drills a hole in the ship, we're all going down. There are no boundaries. We have to be creative, think the ways of fighting this. And if we fight it as an insurance company, policy for us and our children, our grandchildren, that it should be the Kedusha of Tznius. This is Yehuda Levin, Hashkafa 202. Rabbi, we're hurtling along here. I want to tell you another piece of Torah. It says in the parasha last week in Kiseitze, I heard them speaking to Shei Brachas of my niece, so Ben Torah, named Meir Simcha Berger, from Nei Yisrael, Talmud Chacham said a beautiful Dvar Torah. One of the things he mentioned was the pasuk that if you return the Aveda of a Gentile, of an Akum, lo yoyev Hashem sleich le, Hashem can't countenance forgiving him. I said, if a person was a noyev, if he was a ma'anis somebody, if he was a retzeach, and it says, the Yava Hashem sleich le, Hashem will never forgive him, I got it. With all due respect, you see, like Sesav Edoimi, Sesav Misri, Shlishi Yavai. You see, we have a certain amount of kindred spirit even with the Gentiles who harmed us, who pinicked us, who pained us, who tortured us. And Avad, it's not talking about with his Ava if we don't return it, with his hate. Avad, we're not talking about in the case you can make a big Kiddush Hashem by returning it. So we're obviously talking where there won't be a Kiddush Hashem and there's no Ava. In those cases, if you give back to a God, Hashem. Let's play this out. Why? So I wanted to say, like this. The same parsha in Kitzei earlier in the parsha, it says like this. There's a few kinds of klayim listed together. There's the klayim of Tzemra Pishin, and it's growing. There's the klayim of clothing that you wear, like silbash, klayim. And there's a klayim of two animals, klayim. And now being mechadish is a klayim of humanity. That since Klal Yisrael is hen am levoda dishkara b'goyim lo yischashav, we're supposed to be separate and disparate. We're not supposed to be influenced by the Gentiles. We're not supposed to be a product, a victim of Hazai crystals. We're supposed to stay far away. You find a wallet, and you say, "Listen, when I lost the wallet, I went to the police station. Some nice Gentile, Mohammed Al-Akhbiri, returned it. And I'm not going to go now when I find the wallet and I'm not going to return it." So the answer is no. And the impact on you and press upon you, how serious it is, Hashem says, you'll never get, I can't count this to forgive you. Why? Let's play this out. He goes with the wallet and he knocks. Are you Mr. McTargery? McHaggerty? Yes. I found your wallet with $350. Oh, God bless you, son. Come in, please. No, I really can't. No, I insist you come in. I don't want to insult you. Now, let me give you something. I can't. Coach, wait a second. I have here kosher soda, Pepsi. Here's the rabbinic, that OU thing on the Coke or the Pepsi. Here, I have Stella Doro cookies. Oh, I don't know. I was by the patriarch of the Greek Orthodox in the old Jerusalem, the Christian quarter. I was inside, it was opulent. He had one of his shamosim bring me chocolate. He said, "You can eat it. It's kosher. It's elite." You hear what he knew? You understand the elite? Okay. I said, "But is it Megodim? I don't eat elite with the Nazaret. Was it Megodim? Or is it a Bedatzachsha?" I'm kidding around. I didn't say it and I didn't eat it, but it's not the point. So then there'll be a kir of Hadeus. We both support Trump, this and that, and not so bad. And then, so Hashem draws a red line in the sand. No fraternization. Today, all our people, the Agudah people, the Lakewood Vad, all of our people are women, the styles, everything, the culture, the jokes, the music. We're all influenced. It's all influence. Why do you think that Lo Yoyeva Hashem Sloyach Loi does not apply? Simply because it's not an Aveda. Zeklal Godel Batayra, Rabbi say. That was my Chiddush. There's shatnez by human beings. There's klayim. And this goes back to the original sin with Cain and Hevel, remember? It had to do with shatnez. That's what the Mekabolim say. Whatever Rabbi say. It's time for lesson 176, entitled How to Read and Not Read Your Haredi Jewish Newspaper. You take out the Yated. That's why you should be in touch with my WhatsApp, because there's videos going out about this. Very sharp. There's parodies on some of this stuff. And you read in the Yated, on page 50 of last week's Yated, you read about the 500 Rabonim who marched on Washington. That's a beautiful part of history we should know. How they stood up for Yiddish lives, and Roosevelt ran out. All the Democrats and all the Yidden voted for. He ran out the back door. But the article continues. There was a nephew of Rabbi Kook who changed his name so as not to implicate the Rav Harashi Rabbi Kook. And his name was Hillel Kook, but he changed it to Bergson, something like that. And he was the one who was behind the whole rabbinic march to Washington. Even though he was a Tzioni and a Gunist, he might not have been a Shem Shabbos even. He was definitely a Moderni, but he had a bigger feel of Jewish identity. He did this. So the article in Yated is saying the Holocaust Museum in Yad Vashem, and nobody recognizes what Bergson did in the rabbinic march. They try to keep it out of the history, and people are upset. And the Yated and the Agudism, they're all upset. Why isn't this in the history books? Why isn't this taught, the heroism of Bergson, the Bergson group, and the rabbis? So I said, isn't it a little hypocritical of the Yated? They're concerned with the Bergson group, because that's safe in history, so we want that to, when we take the kids to Yad Vashem or to the Holocaust Museum, we want to be able to show, see, this is what the Haredim did. They had with Bergson, the nephew of Cook, But why don't you ask the same question that it's hypocrisy now when the Yated covers these politicians and gives them cover malachim, or puts out the Agudah press releases of garbage, or does these in-depth interviews on Schumer or something, and never tells us what our Russia, Marusha, what a Chil Hashem he makes with his swarmy New York attitude, and a swarmy little Schumer, and he supports every nudnik thing, and he stopped chopping and hacking away at the president and at morality, partial birth abortion, the chaos, the transgendered, and the dozens of other things. Why are we not entitled to know Yated? 50 or 60 years from now, then you'll tell me that we should know. After we're long gone, thank you very much, you hypocrites. But that's part of the Agudah constellation, cosmos of hypocrisy. Does it end there? No, no, no. My good friends at Hamodia, the big Tzaddikim Lech. Yeah, they wrote a front page story. McCain is Avek. He was pro-Israel. He was friendly to Joe Lieberman. He made jokes with the Jews. There's a video going around how he said Joe Lieberman was trying to persuade him to convert. He was going to almost do it until he found out you have to take a bris milah. He makes a joke about, it's very fine, it's very personal. In the last 4 years of his life, McCain became so abstoisen, that's a Galiciano word for so disgusting, that he mamish supported every maneuver thing. He's supposed to be the military hero. You can't take away from him. And I have a video on this also that's out there. Yes, he was a military hero. And by the way, and yes, he was heroic. And yes, he contributed to America. But while his wife was crying for him and he was in captivity for 5 years in Vietnam, when he came out, what did he do with this woman? He adulterized on her with Cindy, the current wife. She was a younger, nicer model. And he had a daughter with her who was ultra-liberal. They're talking about Mrs. Cindy, the Almuna, filling the seat of McCain. She'll be a bigger Oiskevarf because she was out and out, and she had a tremendous hashpah, her and her daughters, on all the pro-abortion, pro-mishkav zachar, and all the garbage that he did. In the military, he loved so much, pushing the transgendered and the ganze business. Now the McCain, now the Haimitown, even posthumously, the Hanifa has to continue, and you can't even write in an edel way in Hamedia, the paper that we could all accept to take into our houses. Unfortunately, we're saddened that this American hero turned away from us when it came to many lifestyle legislation decisions he made for us and the military. I said it in such an edel way. God forbid we won't contaminate the kinderlach, the little kinderlach. Yehuda Levin is metame them. He's teaching the little kinderlach about all the schlechte Sachen. It reminds me of a story. 10 years ago, I was fighting, and I prevented b'siyata d'shmaya the Mishkav Zachar parade from Yerushalayim that year. It was during the Lebanon crisis. They pushed it off into November, and then they held it inside a stadium. One day, I met one of the biggest machanchim. You probably have his tapes in America. His name is Rabbi Braverman from the Cheder in the Talmud Torah, whatever you call it, in Maya Sheurim, Litvak. And I said, I had spoken to him months ago when he had an anti-internet asif, and I walked over and the Efsas Gevaldik, but there's also Mishkav Zachar praise in Yerushalayim. No, I can't get involved. I don't know. The Rabonim, all this bluff. I came over a few months later after I successfully stopped it, and I said, we stopped the parade. And he was all fuming at me. Do you know what you did? You know that everybody was out in the streets and the kids were talking about Mishkav Zachar and the key Yerushalayim and the Shreklich, who knows what's going to be and this and that. So I stopped him dead in his tracks when I told him my Rebbe is Rav Avigdor Miller. He pulled back. He said, I don't understand it, but it's Rav Avigdor Miller. But you can see he was upset like anything. So I told him, why are you being negative? Why are you saying, the kids are going to become all homo and lesbiot? That's the way they call it in Israel, because they heard about Mishkav Zachar. When they're going to ask, Favos geht der Tata Areis in Bayit Vegan, that never did the people from Kol Torah go out to protest and burn tires. Why did they go out all over the Tata and the Elter Brida to be Meicha? And they would be told for Kedusha V'tznias, and like the Satmar Rebbe said it, and it's written in the Sefer, and it's the Sklener Rebbe, it's written up that he was Makal Kehila, is to teach children, Mechanchem and parents have to teach children at a young age how to not be touched inappropriately, Ba'isa Mokoim, and what to do if they are, and the concept of tznius. So it's very simple, Rabbi Braverman. if you would follow what the Satman, the Sklenis said, there wouldn't be a problem telling the kids. The fathers went out to fight against immorality without getting very graphic. But it's now 10 years, 11 years later. I challenge Rabbi Bravman and all the naysayers to show me from the Kiddush Hashem of people, of the brothers and fathers being Moicha, who became corrupted because of this. If anything, they become corrupted, like in New York, the molestations and everything. It's from the garbage of the Rabonim and the Askonim who turn the other cheek to immorality. And Hashem says, if you don't care, I don't care. We'll make a gezeir against Metzitzu Befei. Right in New York, the Yerushalayim, the America, outside of Israel and Bnei Brak, the biggest concentration of Frumkeit, will show you molestations right and left, like a derech hateva. Understand? So it's coming like Yehuda Levin is the problem. It reminds me of what I told. I want to say again, the Lakewood leadership is quiet around Rabbi Poisik of the homosexual Simchat Torah synagogue. We renamed him. We gave him Kriya Shem because he's pro-transgender, so we call him Feigele. What a wonderful Feigele. And his name is Moskowitz, but we gave Mashini Hashem Mushchovovitz. From Mushchovovitz. Mushchovitz. He's Feigele Mushchovitz. He is now giving shiurim with his kapota and his black hat and white shirt. And he's looking ernst, and he's talking about Chodesh Elul to the Mishkei Zach on their website. But Lakewood, Aaron Kotler, Shenkelevsky, Rabbi Weisberg, the Vad that's busy busting the chops of parents who don't have money, the Vad who can't say anything or do anything about the Mishkav Zocha of 1 month promoting the Children's Second Lakewood Library, the Vad can't say anything, no public statements or anything to disassociate from this Oisov that may very well have a Lakewood smicha, and if he doesn't, he still feels comfortable living in Lakewood. Shame on the Vad. Is this something in your backyard? What are you going to do about that? Is that entertaining enough for you? By the way, we have a big drush in the last few minutes. There should be hopefully a video coming out with Flatbush Mama talking with a girl in Muncie who's eaten a cheeseburger, and Flatbush Mama is making jokes. Was the cheeseburger with Mahadran cheese? Do you make a good cheeseburger? Enjoy your cheeseburger. This is what this Oisvarfik is saying. Should this not be enough? Or that she blows a kiss. She says, hi, Rabbi Levin. She makes a video with her husband, Shishitsky, from the Choshev Chaim family, as Avim He Mechalalim. And she says, you've given me such popularity. And then she says, goodbye, Rabbi Levin. And she blows me a kiss. This is the wiffle head that we want to elect to an office to continue to be a role model to over 1,638 likes, who said she liked the idea of us dialoguing with the lesbians, gays, queers, transgender, and off-the-derech people. This is Rabbi Yehuda Levin. Until we meet again, Agudah Thomas, spread the word. Spread the word. And yes, somebody says it, it has to be me, and we shall overcome. Until September 13th, Flatbush Mama's got to lose. Well, we all do.